All right, hey, what's up, guys? It's Jamie. I'm going to talk today about it's March 24th, 2023. I want to talk about some more about this BRICS stuff and a couple things that I think are pertaining. But as far as stocks go, I'm trading Tesla. There's always a couple points to be made there, and I have a bigger position for me in my trading account with LABU. You know, there's LABU, LABD. I wish I got on the LABD side, but I'm on the LABU side, and it hasn't been going very well. So I will tell you, I went against one of my rules, so to speak, which is going against the trend. And when I saw it break a channel, and I was like, man, I don't know, this usually means it's going to go in the other way, and it did kind of what I thought it was going to do, and it's been on a downtrend from the 8s all the way down to the low 4s. It might break into the 3s today, you know. And I mean, I'm at 550 or 540 something a share, but you know, I have 4,000 shares. I'm okay with being down because as many times I've been down 20 grand, but it can come back. But the thing about it is when you're down and the stock doesn't perform the way you thought, and you're holding, like, yeah, sure, it might turn around, and it may take a long time. It could take several weeks, it could take several months. It didn't do what it needed to do, and as you're riding it and being patient and just saying, you know, like white knuckling it, going,
that's all right, it's gonna be all right, it's gonna do what I said it's gonna do, it. I'm gonna add more to my position.
and you keep doing that, and then over time you're watching your average come down, but you're also watching your losses stack up. You know, and if you're not going to sell it, sure, they're only losses when they only become losses when you actually sell your position. But there's other money you could potentially be making or losing by waiting weeks and months, right? Because now you're stuck. You say, all right, well, I can't take this loss of $500, $5,000, $50,000, whatever that number might be, and you got to wait it out, right? Because you're like, all right, I know it's going to come back around, or I believe it will. It's going to take a lot longer than I thought. That has certainly happened for me many times. But if you're using that money to trade, then what are you going to do? You're either going to add more money, or you're going to use margin, right, to sell covered calls, increase your premium, so you got some extra money to play with, which isn't a good idea because now you're leveraging that position. Or you just got to be patient and wait. So sometimes I think it's better to just cut your losses early.
You got
when you see a trend going a certain way. Like I was saying before, if a trend is going up, down, or sideways, and you're riding that trend, I mean, it's easy money. You're going in the same direction, right? You may not make as much because you know, everyone is on that trend, but you feel like, okay, we're on an uptrend. I'm going to scalp a little bit here over the next few hours or days. When the trend does a reversal and it goes the other direction, whatever that direction might be, then you get out, right? And if it goes back in one direction or the other, if it continues on, then you do the same thing. But when LABU started to go down, and I'm like, to me, it's a clear signal that it's in a downtrend. That thing just, it's been straight going down, right? And you can take it personal.
Say, oh, it's because I'm in the stock. And whenever I get in it, it's always me.
It's not you, it's the market, it's whatever those factors are. And you just got to get out of the way. You got to say, all right, I'll wait. You know, I'm going to wait and play out. Now, right now, I think it is getting close to the bottom from what I could see. It may go a little lower for sure, but I'm not going to get out of that position. But I think that I won't be adding anymore. I certainly won't be adding anymore, because you get to a certain point where you're like, okay, I can only stand so much. Now I just got to just be patient and wait, and that's what it is. The same thing with the Tesla stuff. You know, I bought Tesla and it went down. If I would have been patient, I recovered like 10 grand of the 18 I was down, and eventually that I think will break the 200s and get back into the 200s at some point, I think. So it's a patience game. So here's I talked 5 minutes about that. Let's talk for the next 5 minutes about this BRICS stuff and currency and precious metals, okay? if this is correct, and one of the things I researched, I Googled it, and I was just like, how much oil do we have left? Now, I guessed that we had like 40 to 60 years, I thought, right? And what I heard, and according to the data that it pops up, it says we have about 47 years of the existing reserves that are in the world, right? So I'm not a scientist. I'm saying that's just what comes up on the search. So figure we have about 50 years of oil reserves. And then, coincidentally, we also have over 100 years, I think it was 100 and maybe 15 years or so of coal. Now that's if you carry that information over into the the BRICS stuff, the Brazil, Russia, India, China, South America currency, that corridor, that thing that they're doing there, the currency, and all these nations that want to join it, they don't want to go green, because from what I'm understanding, I was listening to Andy Schegman. Now, granted, Andy Schegman has Miles Franklin, and he stands to benefit from you using his company to broker precious metals. Now, I actually have a spreadsheet that I got from one of their reps. Maybe I'll post it up here, about what they charge if you want to convert some of your cash to precious metals. Now, I said that I'm not going to be doing millions of dollars, but I would do a good little bit, and I'm probably going to do that. But he was like saying, "Hey, we'll send you some gold bars to your house." And I'm like, I don't want to have gold bars in my house. But they do custodial stuff where they'll hold the precious metals. Now, precious metals like a gold bar, for example, coins or silver, whatever you got, are worth. Let's say an ounce is worth, I don't know what it is, 1,800, I think, somewhere around an ounce of gold. Let's say it goes up to 2 or 2,500. So let's say it goes to 10,000, right? I'm not going to be going down anywhere to barter like groceries, right? Say, how would we be paying today? Well, I got a half ounce of gold, But you could convert that into other, there are equities, assets that can be converted to something. If I want to exchange it to another currency, if I want to buy Bitcoin, if I want to buy cryptocurrency, if I want to buy real estate, maybe, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying that a realtor, a bank is going to accept that, but they might. I haven't tried that, but if I said, hey, I have $100,000 down payment in gold, right? I don't think they'd say no. So I think that is the hedge. That is the thing to consider. Is I was talking to an older friend of mine who's getting close to retirement, and the majority of his money is in a 401k, just a traditional 401k. He has a good bit of money in there, and I said, well, what happens if this BRICS or something else becomes CBDC, right, or central banking digital currency? If that takes over, and then nobody wants the U.S. dollar anymore, right? That's the big thing. Is 80% of the population is in that circle of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South America. Like, they have the majority market power, right? And if they're like, we are not going green, at least for the next 50 years, we want to keep our way of life. We want to use the current resources that have. Maybe we'll dabble in green over the next several decades, but the only downside of that is if they're continuing destroying the environment, global warming, all that kind of stuff. That's something else that is probably a different topic. But if they're going to keep doing that, and they have the power, meaning 80% of the world's population is in this group. If one day you wake up and you're $10,000, you're $1,000, you're $100,000, you're millions of dollars, it no longer has the same value, because it's just all the other nations like, yeah, we don't care about the U.S. dollar anymore. Give it back. And it's backed by gold, which is what, if this is true, this is the part that kind of grabs my attention. And then I'm going to wrap it up here. Is if all these other central banks are accumulating gold, right, trading in their dollars for, gold, and they're saying that this new currency is going to be backed by gold, commodities, like that, doesn't that make you kind of think a little bit, like at least be concerned, or like want to pay attention to perhaps that playing a factor to your wealth, to your future retirement, to your investments and assets. If all your money is tied up in cash, wherever you have it, or wherever it's sitting, and then the cash is no longer has value, like it's just a piece of paper, right? With Robert Kiyosaki, who I'm not a huge fan of, but I think he does offer some good info. He's like, it's toilet paper. It's just toilet paper. And essentially, he could be correct, because there's nothing backing up the dollar. It's just like what we accept for goods and services. So I think it might be a good idea. It's like a climate change. Like if you go outside and it's really cold, right, or it's starting to rain, you'd put a jacket on. You'd be like, all right, I got to cover myself up, to protect myself from the elements. You don't just go out there like a maniac and I guess some people are, right, if you're Wim Hof, but I mean, for the most part, most of us are not going out in these extreme elements, right? You want to be prepared to endure, because the people that aren't are not only going to be able to withstand it for so long. I don't care how strong your resistance is to the cold or the rain or the elements. So if this is what's going on, I would say real estate certainly won't be a bad option. In addition to having some, I have no precious metals. I am getting into that. I am starting to pursue precious metals to some aspect. I am going to convert some of my cash into precious metals. And the same thing with the real estate stuff is, I think good real estate is going to be is going to have value, because in any currency, yen, BRICS currency, right? Ripples, it doesn't matter what, Bitcoin, if you have a good piece of property that people want to live in or stay in, they're going to pay one way or the other, whatever the value is. So I think real estate, in my opinion, still is not as jeopardized if you own the property already. I certainly don't want to give it up. I personally right now feel like if you got a good property, you want to keep it, and that's why probably people are still overpaying or converting their cash over into this real estate, because it's like a chessboard, like they were saying, like they see the movie. If you're a good chess player and you're watching someone else play the game, you're gonna know what the person that is the better player is doing. Like like the other player who is playing that is not as good at maneuvering, that's playing the game, and you're watching the person that's really good, a master, just kind of like he's just setting up the other guy for checkmate with his maneuvers. You'd be like, oh, I see what's coming, right? And oh, this is going to end. I know where this is going. So I'm not a masterful chess player, but I'm trying to pay attention to the ones that are, and just considering it. And that's all I'm saying. It's just consider that. It's a warning, a friendly warning of like, hey guys, maybe we should be paying attention to this. Not for a I told you so. It's just something that I think is going to happen. So at some point, whether it's in a few years or 50 years or 10 years, I mean, I don't know. I don't know the timeline, but this may be something where, for me, I'm like, all right, I got to think more about Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum. That's really all I'm thinking about as far as the cryptocurrency stuff, but that's been pretty volatile. I've just been watching that go, but I am going to get back into that. I already started to a little bit, and I will always keep pursuing the real estate stuff. And now I'm thinking about precious metals. I'm not thinking so much, for me, about 401k stuff, right? Because they're dollars that you own. But I mean, granted, you're converting dollars into shares. So, if you're buying shares of a company and trading shares of a company, you're still using cash. I guess the point is cash to me, even though right now today is still working, it may not work as well over the next decade. So something to think about, whether you're my age or certainly if you're younger, because you got a lot more time to kind of make some shifts, okay? Versus someone who has already accumulated the money and now is like, all right, well, you mean I'm not safe? Maybe I should start to do something else. Maybe I should start considering some other things. Maybe it's not good for me just to store this cash and think I'm good, because it may not be. You may not be. All right, that's my ramblings for the day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.